The car's headlights pierced the darkness, illuminating the winding road ahead. Jack gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white from exhaustion and the long hours spent behind the wheel. The radio crackled with static, the only sound breaking the eerie silence of the night. As he rounded a bend, Jack suddenly slammed on the brakes, his heart leaping into his throat. There, in the middle of the road, stood a massive bear, its dark form looming ominously in the headlights. The creature was still, its eyes glinting with an otherworldly intelligence as it stared directly at Jack through the windshield. Jack sat frozen, his mind racing with fear and confusion. What was a bear doing out here, miles from any forest or wilderness? And why did it seem to be waiting for him, as if it had been expecting his arrival? Slowly, cautiously, Jack turned off the engine and stepped out of the car, his legs shaking beneath him. The bear remained motionless, its gaze never wavering from Jack's face. As he inched closer, Jack felt a strange sense of familiarity wash over him, as if he had encountered this creature before, in another life or perhaps a distant dream. The bear's eyes seemed to beckon him forward, inviting him to draw nearer. Jack hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to run, to get back in the car and drive away as fast as he could. But something deeper, more profound, urged him to stay, to confront this mysterious being and uncover the truth behind its appearance. And so, with a deep breath and a pounding heart, Jack took another step forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead, no matter how impossible or terrifying it might be. As Jack approached the bear, he noticed that its fur was not the typical brown or black he had seen in nature documentaries. Instead, the bear's coat shimmered with an iridescent hue, almost as if it were woven from strands of starlight. The creature's eyes, too, seemed to hold the depths of the universe within them, swirling with galaxies and nebulae. Jack's mind raced with questions. Was this a hallucination brought on by exhaustion? A trick of the light playing on his sleep-deprived eyes? Or was there something more at work here, something that defied rational explanation? He took another step forward, his hand outstretched, as if to touch the bear's shimmering fur. But before his fingers could make contact, the bear spoke, its voice a deep, resonant rumble that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. "Jack," the bear said, its tone gentle yet commanding. "You have been chosen." Jack stumbled back, his eyes wide with shock. "Chosen? For what?" he managed to stammer, his voice barely above a whisper. The bear's gaze softened, and it lowered its massive head, bringing its eyes level with Jack's. "For a journey," it replied, "a journey that will reveal the truth about your past, your present, and your future." Jack shook his head, trying to clear the fog of confusion and disbelief. "I don't understand," he said, his voice trembling. "What truth? What journey?" The bear smiled, a gesture that seemed both comforting and unsettling. "All will be revealed in time," it said, its voice fading like a distant echo. "For now, trust in the path that has been laid before you, and know that you are not alone." With that, the bear turned and began to walk away, its form shimmering and blurring like a mirage in the desert heat. Jack watched, transfixed, as the creature disappeared into the darkness, leaving him alone on the desolate road, his mind reeling with questions and his heart filled with a strange, inexplicable sense of purpose. Jack stood there for what felt like an eternity, staring at the spot where the bear had vanished. His mind raced with questions, each more impossible than the last. Had he really just spoken with a bear? A bear that seemed to know his name and his destiny? He shook his head, trying to clear the fog of confusion and exhaustion. Maybe it had all been a dream, a hallucination brought on by too many hours on the road. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. The encounter had been real, and it had changed everything. Slowly, Jack made his way back to the car, his legs feeling like lead. He slid behind the wheel, his hands trembling as he gripped the steering wheel. For a long moment, he sat there, staring out at the empty road ahead, trying to make sense of what had just happened. And then, as if guided by some unseen force, he turned the key in the ignition and began to drive, his destination suddenly clear in his mind. He didn't know where he was going or what he would find there, but he knew that he had to keep moving forward, to follow the path that the bear had laid out for him. As he drove, Jack's thoughts drifted back to his past, to the events that had led him to this moment. He had always felt like an outsider, like he didn't quite fit in with the world around him. He had drifted from job to job, relationship to relationship, never quite finding his place or his purpose. But now, for the first time in his life, he felt a sense of clarity, a sense of direction. The bear's words echoed in his mind, filling him with a strange sense of certainty and purpose. He didn't know what lay ahead, but he knew that he had to face it, to confront whatever truths the journey might reveal. And so, with a deep breath and a determined heart, Jack drove on into the night, ready to embrace whatever fate had in store for him. As the sun began to rise, casting a soft, golden light over the landscape, Jack found himself approaching a small, nondescript town. The buildings were old and weathered, their facades cracked and peeling, but there was a sense of warmth and familiarity about the place that drew him in. He parked the car on the outskirts of town and stepped out, stretching his legs and breathing in the crisp morning air. The streets were quiet, almost deserted, but Jack could feel the presence of something else, something that seemed to pulse and thrum beneath the surface of the town. As he walked down the main street, Jack caught sight of a small, weathered sign hanging above a doorway. "The Seeker's Inn," it read, the letters faded and worn. Something about the name resonated with him, and before he knew it, he was pushing open the door and stepping inside. But he also remembers the pain and loss that had torn his world apart. He sees the moment when everything changed, when the innocence of youth gave way to the harsh realities of adulthood. He remembers the day his grandfather died, the day the light went out of his world. He remembers the grief and anger that had consumed him, the sense of betrayal and abandonment that had left him lost and alone. As the memories wash over him, the man feels a deep sense of sorrow and regret. He realizes that he had been running from his past, hiding from the truth of who he was and what he had lost. But as he walks beside the bear, he also feels a growing sense of hope and possibility. He knows that he has been given a second chance, an opportunity to reclaim the life he was meant to live. With each step, he feels the weight of his past lifting from his shoulders. He feels the walls around his heart crumbling, revealing a depth of emotion he had long suppressed. And as he looks into the bear's eyes, he sees a reflection of his own soul, a glimpse of the person he was always meant to be. He knows that the journey ahead will not be easy, that he will have to face the demons of his past and the uncertainty of his future. But he also knows that he is not alone, that the bear will be his guide and his companion on this path of self-discovery. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind open to the possibilities, the man continues on, ready to embrace whatever lies ahead. As the man and the bear continue their journey through the forest, the man begins to notice changes within himself. The fears and doubts that had once held him back begin to fade away, replaced by a growing sense of confidence and purpose. He starts to see the world through new eyes, to appreciate the beauty and wonder that surrounds him. He marvels at the intricate patterns of the leaves, the delicate petals of the wildflowers, the gentle rustling of the wind through the trees. With each passing day, the man feels a deepening connection to the natural world, a sense of kinship with the animals and plants that share his existence. He begins to understand the wisdom of his grandfather's teachings, the importance of living in harmony with the earth. As he walks beside the bear, the man also starts to confront the painful memories of his past. He allows himself to feel the grief and anger that he had long suppressed, to acknowledge the hurt and betrayal that had shaped his life. But rather than being consumed by these emotions, he learns to accept them, to see them as a necessary part of his journey. He begins to understand that his pain has made him who he is, that it has given him the strength and resilience to face the challenges that lie ahead. And through it all, the bear remains a constant presence, a source of comfort and guidance. The man learns to trust in the creature's wisdom, to follow its lead even when the path is uncertain. As they walk, the man begins to share his story with the bear, to pour out the secrets of his heart. And in the bear's gentle gaze, he finds a sense of acceptance and understanding that he had never known before. With each passing day, the man feels a growing sense of purpose and direction. He knows that he is on the right path, that he is finally living the life he was meant to live. And as he looks to the future, he feels a sense of hope and possibility that he had never thought possible. He knows that the journey ahead will be filled with challenges and obstacles, but he also knows that he has the strength and courage to face them head-on. As the man and the bear continue their journey, they begin to encounter others who have been touched by the wisdom of the natural world. They meet a woman who has dedicated her life to protecting the forest, a man who has found healing through his connection with the earth, and a child who possesses a rare and precious gift. Through these encounters, the man begins to understand the true purpose of his journey. He realizes that he has been called to be a messenger, to share the lessons he has learned with others who are seeking their own path. He starts to see the interconnectedness of all things, the delicate balance that sustains life on Earth. He understands that every action, every choice, has a ripple effect that extends far beyond the individual. With this newfound understanding, the man begins to make changes in his own life. He starts to live more simply, to reduce his impact on the earth. He becomes an advocate for the natural world, using his voice to raise awareness and inspire change. And as he shares his story with others, he sees the impact that it has. He watches as people begin to open their hearts and minds to see the world in a new and different way. Through his words and his actions, the man becomes a catalyst for transformation, a living example of the power of connection and compassion. But the path is not always easy. There are those who resist his message, who cling to the old ways of thinking and being. There are moments of doubt and uncertainty, when the man questions his own abilities and his place in the world. But through it all, the bear remains a constant presence, a reminder of the truth that he has discovered. And in the bear's gentle strength, the man finds the courage to keep going, to trust in the journey that has chosen him. As they walk through the forest, the man and the bear become a symbol of hope and possibility, a living testament to the power of the natural world. And in their footsteps, others begin to follow, each seeking their own path to healing and transformation. As the man's influence grows, he begins to face new challenges and obstacles. There are those who seek to discredit his message, who see his connection with the bear as a threat to their own power and control. They spread rumors and lies, trying to sow doubt and fear in the hearts of those who have been touched by the man's words. They accuse him of being a charlatan, a false prophet who is leading people astray. But the man remains steadfast in his convictions, knowing that the truth will always prevail. He continues to share his story, to inspire others with the lessons he has learned. And as he does, he begins to see the power of his own vulnerability. He realizes that it is only by being open and honest, by sharing his own struggles and doubts, that he can truly connect with others. He starts to understand that leadership is not about having all the answers, but about being willing to ask the difficult questions. It is about creating a space where others can find their own truth, their own path to healing and transformation. As the man embraces this new understanding, he begins to see the bear in a different light. He realizes that the creature is not just a guide, but a mirror, reflecting back to him the parts of himself that he has long denied. He sees the bear's strength and courage, but also its gentleness and compassion. He understands that these qualities are not separate, but two sides of the same coin, each necessary for true leadership and healing. And as he integrates these qualities into his own being, the man begins to experience a new level of clarity and purpose. He knows that he is exactly where he is meant to be, doing exactly what he is meant to do. With each passing day, the man and the bear become more deeply connected, their bond a testament to the power of trust and surrender. And as they walk through the forest, they leave behind a trail of hope and inspiration, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a path to the light. As the man and the bear continue their journey, they begin to encounter signs and symbols that point to a deeper mystery. They find ancient runes carved into the trees, cryptic messages that seem to hold the key to a long-forgotten truth. At first, the man is puzzled by these signs, unsure of their meaning or purpose. But as he spends more time in the forest, he begins to feel a growing sense of familiarity, as if he has seen these symbols before. And then, one night, as he sits by the campfire with the bear, a vision comes to him. He sees himself in another life, another time, walking the same path he walks now. He sees the bear by his side, a constant companion through countless incarnations. As the vision unfolds, the man begins to understand the true nature of his connection with the bear. He realizes that they are not just guide and follower, but two halves of the same whole, each necessary for the other's growth and evolution. He sees the bear as a representation of the wild, untamed aspect of his own being, the part of himself that is deeply connected to the earth and the cycles of life and death. And he sees himself as the human embodiment of that wildness, the one who has been called to bridge the gap between the natural world and the world of human culture and society. With this new understanding, the man begins to approach the signs and symbols with a new level of reverence and curiosity. He knows that they hold the key to unlocking the deeper purpose of his journey, the reason why he has been called to walk this path. And as he deciphers their meaning, he begins to see the interconnectedness of all things, the delicate web of life that connects every living being on Earth. He understands that his own journey is just one thread in a much larger tapestry, a small but essential part of the great unfolding of the universe. With each new revelation, the man feels a growing sense of awe and wonder, a deep appreciation for the mystery and beauty of existence. And he knows that he will spend the rest of his life seeking to understand and honor that mystery, to be a voice for the wisdom of the wild in a world that has forgotten its own true nature. As the man and the bear become more deeply attuned to the signs and symbols around them, they begin to attract the attention of others who are also seeking a deeper understanding of the world. They meet wanderers and seekers, those who have left behind the trappings of society in search of a more authentic way of being. At first, the man is hesitant to share his own story, unsure of how it will be received. But as he listens to the stories of others, he begins to see the common threads that unite them all. He hears tales of loss and heartbreak, of the pain and suffering that so often accompany the human experience. But he also hears stories of hope and resilience, of the incredible capacity of the human spirit to overcome even the greatest of challenges. And as he shares his own story, he sees the impact that it has on those who hear it. He watches as people's eyes light up with recognition and understanding, as they see their own struggles and triumphs reflected in his words. Through these conversations, the man begins to understand the true power of story, the way that it can connect us across the boundaries of time and space. He sees how a simple tale, told from the heart, can touch the lives of countless others, inspiring them to see the world in a new and different way. And he also begins to understand the responsibility that comes with this power. He knows that he must use his voice wisely, to speak the truth even when it is difficult, to be a beacon of hope and guidance for those who are lost and searching. As the man and the bear continue their journey, they become a magnet for those who are seeking a deeper connection with the earth and with themselves. They create a community of kindred spirits, a circle of support and understanding that extends far beyond the boundaries of the forest. And through this community, the man begins to see the true potential of the human spirit, the incredible capacity for love and compassion that lies within us all. He knows that this is the key to healing the wounds of the world, to creating a future that is more just, more sustainable, and more deeply connected to the wisdom of the wild. As the man's understanding of his purpose grows deeper, he begins to face new challenges and obstacles. There are those who fear the power of the wild, who see it as a threat to the established order of things. They seek to silence the man's voice, to discredit his message and his connection with the bear. They use fear and intimidation, trying to force him to abandon his path and return to the world he left behind. But the man knows that he cannot turn back, that he has been called to this journey for a reason. He draws strength from the bear's presence, from the love and support of the community he has built. And he also begins to understand that the opposition he faces is a necessary part of his journey, a test of his commitment and his faith. He knows that he must face these challenges head-on, to stand firm in his convictions even in the face of adversity. As he does so, he begins to see the ways in which his own journey is connected to the larger struggles of the world. He sees how the forces of greed and destruction are threatening the very fabric of life on Earth, how the wisdom of the wild is being lost in the face of a society that values profit over people and planet. And he knows that he has a role to play in the struggle, that he must use his voice and his platform to speak out against injustice and oppression, to be an advocate for the earth and all its creatures. With this new sense of purpose, the man begins to take his message beyond the boundaries of the forest. He speaks to crowds of people in cities and towns, sharing the wisdom of the bear and the lessons he has learned on his journey. And as he does so, he sees the ripple effect of his words, the way that they inspire others to take action and make a difference in their own lives and communities. He knows that he is planting seeds of change, seeds that will continue to grow and flourish long after he is gone. And through it all, the bear remains by his side, a constant reminder of the power and beauty of the wild, and of the incredible potential that lies within us all. As the man's journey continues, he begins to sense that he is approaching a critical juncture, a moment of truth that will determine the course of his life and the lives of those around him. He feels a growing sense of urgency, a knowing that time is running out and that he must act now. And then one night, as he sits by the campfire with the bear, he receives a vision that shakes him to his core. He sees the world in flames, consumed by the fires of greed and destruction. He sees the suffering of countless beings, the devastation of the earth and all its creatures. But he also sees a glimmer of hope, a possibility for renewal and rebirth. He sees a future in which humans have learned to live in harmony with the earth, in which the wisdom of the wild is honored and respected. And he knows that he has a role to play in bringing this future into being, that he must use all his strength and courage to fight for the survival of the planet and all its inhabitants. With this new sense of purpose, the man begins to mobilize his community, to rally them around the cause of the earth. He speaks with passion and conviction, sharing the vision he has seen and the urgent need for action. And as he does so, he sees the power of unity, the way that people from all walks of life can come together to create change. He sees how the love and compassion that he has cultivated on his journey can be a force for healing and transformation. But he also knows that the road ahead will not be easy, that there will be setbacks and challenges at every turn. He knows that he will need to draw on all his reserves of strength and resilience to stay true to his purpose even in the face of adversity. And through it all, the bear remains by his side, a symbol of the wild and untamed spirit that lives within us all. And the man knows that as long as he stays connected to that spirit, as long as he listens to the wisdom of the bear and the earth, he will never be alone, and he will never give up. As the man and his community continue their fight for the earth, they begin to see signs of hope and progress. They witness the power of their collective action, the way that small acts of kindness and compassion can ripple out and create waves of change. They see how their message is spreading, inspiring others to take up the cause and join the movement. They hear stories of people who have been touched by their words and their actions, who have found the courage to stand up for what they believe in. And they also begin to see the ways in which the earth itself is responding to their efforts. They witness the resilience of nature, the incredible capacity of the planet to heal and regenerate itself when given the chance. But they also know that the fight is far from over, that there is still so much work to be done. They know that they must continue to push forward, to challenge the systems and structures that threaten the well-being of the planet and all its creatures. And as they do so, they draw strength from each other, from the love and support of their community. They find solace in the quiet moments spent in nature, in the presence of the bear and the other creatures of the wild. Through it all, the man remains a beacon of hope and inspiration, a living example of the power of connection and compassion. He knows that he is not perfect, that he has his own struggles and doubts, but he also knows that he has been given a gift, a chance to make a difference in the world. And he is determined to use that gift for the greater good, to be a voice for the voiceless and a champion for the earth. As he looks to the future, the man knows that the journey ahead will be long and difficult. But he also knows that he is not alone, that he has the love and support of his community, and the wisdom of the bear to guide him. And with that knowledge, he takes a deep breath and steps forward, ready to face whatever challenges may come, knowing that he is exactly where he is meant to be. As the years pass, the man and his community begin to see the fruits of their labors. They witness the gradual shift in consciousness, the growing awareness of the need to live in harmony with the earth and all its creatures. They see the rise of new leaders, those who have been inspired by their message and who are ready to take up the mantle of change. They watch as young people around the world take to the streets, demanding action on climate change and environmental justice. And they also begin to see the tangible results of their efforts, the ways in which their actions have contributed to the healing of the planet. They witness the restoration of ecosystems, the return of endangered species, and the regeneration of communities that had been devastated by exploitation and neglect. But even as they celebrate these victories, they know that the work is never truly done. They know that there will always be new challenges to face, new obstacles to overcome. And so they continue on, guided by the wisdom of the bear and the strength of their own convictions. They know that they are part of a larger story, a great unfolding of consciousness that is greater than any one person or community. As the man enters his later years, he begins to reflect on the incredible journey that he has undertaken. He thinks back to that first night, when the bear appeared on his porch and set him on a path that would change his life forever. He thinks of all the people he has met along the way, the countless lives that have been touched by his message and his actions. And he feels a deep sense of gratitude, a knowing that he has been given a precious gift. And he also knows that the greatest gift he can give is to pass on what he has learned, to share the wisdom of the bear with the next generation of leaders and changemakers. And so, as he sits by the campfire with the bear one last time, he closes his eyes and offers a silent prayer of thanks for the journey, for the love, and for the chance to make a difference in the world. And he knows that, no matter what the future may bring, he will always carry the spirit of the bear with him, a constant reminder of the incredible power and potential that lies within us all. In the final chapter of his life, the man looks back on all that he has learned and all that he has accomplished. He reflects on the incredible journey that he has undertaken, the way that a simple encounter with a bear on his porch had set him on a path of self-discovery and transformation. He thinks of the challenges he has faced, the moments of doubt and fear that had threatened to overwhelm him. But he also thinks of the moments of joy and connection, the way that he had found a sense of purpose and belonging in the company of others who shared his vision. And he knows that, even though his own journey is coming to an end, the work that he has begun will continue on. He sees the seeds that he has planted, the young people who have been inspired by his message and who are ready to take up the mantle of change. He knows that the fight for the earth and all its creatures is far from over, that there will always be new challenges to face and new obstacles to overcome. But he also knows that the power of love and compassion is greater than any force of destruction, that the wisdom of the wild will always find a way to endure. And so, as he takes his final breath, the man feels a sense of peace and acceptance wash over him. He knows that he has lived a life of purpose and meaning, that he has made a difference in the world, no matter how small. And he also knows that his spirit will live on, that the lessons he has learned will continue to inspire and guide others on their own journeys of self-discovery and transformation. As the bear stands watch over his final moments, the man closes his eyes and surrenders to the great mystery of life and death. And in that moment, he becomes one with the wild, one with the earth and all its creatures. And he knows that, even in death, he will never be alone, that he will always be connected to the great web of life that sustains us all. And with that final knowing, he lets go and becomes part of the story that has no end, the story of the earth and all its wonders. The end.